All right, and I'm going to introduce Ellin Jimmerson. Reverend Dr. Ellin Jimmerson is a PhD historian with expertise in Central America and an ordained Baptist minister. She has been involved in immigration advocacy since 2006. Her documentary, The Second Cooler, narrated by Martin Sheen, which won multiple awards on the film festival circuit, raises questions of who benefits from unauthorized migration. Represented by the Southern Poverty Law Center, she was a plaintiff in a lawsuit against former Governor Robert Bentley over HB 56, Alabama's notoriously harsh anti-immigrant act. She has published numerous articles and essays having to do with immigration and its causes and blogs daily on Facebook. She is one of the founders of the Huntsville, Madison County ICE Free Jail Project, an initiative to get our local jurisdiction to stop honoring ICE detainer requests. Please help me welcome her.
Thank you. I don't feel like this is coming over, is it? Louder. Just need me to speak louder? All right. The crisis of family separation is not going on at the U.S.-Mexico border only. The crisis of family separation is part of a monstrous system made up of laws, institutions, and agreements created by Democrats and Republicans that stretches into every municipality and every county in the United States. What Border Patrol does at all our borders, including along the Gulf Coast, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, does in the interior. The interior includes Madison County and the city of Huntsville. Yes. ICE, a federal agency, has a quota for deportations. What? That quota is 400,000 per year. I am a registered Democrat. I voted for Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama. But I have to acknowledge that President Obama earned the derogatory nickname Deporter-in-Chief, deporting some 2.8 million people. That was 2.8 million family separations which left thousands and thousands of U.S. citizen children in foster care and forced thousands more American children and women into living in exile with their deported fathers and mothers. We have to ask ourselves, who is benefiting from 400,000 deportations per year? One of the major beneficiaries is ICE. ICE has contracts with prisons, many of which are for-profit prisons, to keep 34,000 beds filled with immigrant detainees each and every given day. One of the prisons with which ICE has a contract is the Etowah County Immigrant Detention Center in Gadsden.
Shut down Etowah!
Shut down Etowah.
Shut it down.
One immigrant, a Zimbabwean, who is in the U.S. legally, but erroneously arrested in Atlanta on an immigration charge and taken to Etowah, told me that Etowah is the closest place to hell he could imagine. ICE also operates through what are called detainer requests, which it sends to local jurisdictions all over the U.S. During his administration, President George Bush established the Secure Communities Program, a deportation program, and enlisted 14 local jurisdictions. With the Secure Communities Program, enlisted at 14 local jurisdictions. With the Secure Communities Program, ICE automatically receives the fingerprints of those taken into local custody. ICE then uses that information to determine prisoners' immigration status. By March 2011, under Obama, The number of jurisdictions expanded to 1,210 with the goal of expanding to all local jurisdictions in the U.S. ICE then sends what is called a detainer request to local jails and asks local sheriffs and chiefs of police to hold prisoners beyond the time they ordinarily would have been released. In other words, when the charges against them were disposed of through a finding of guilt or innocence, or when charges were dropped, or when bail had been secured, or when convicted prisoners have served their sentences. Responding to these ICE detainer requests is completely voluntary. It is completely voluntary. There were 12,739 ICE detainer requests sent to Alabama between 2005 and 2018. Of them, 733 were sent to the Huntsville Madison County Jail. Madison County receives more ICE detainer requests than any other county in Alabama except Talladega. Huntsville Madison County voluntarily cooperates with ICE detainer requests that puts people into the deportation machine. Thank you. This means that Huntsville Madison County is voluntarily participating in the separation of immigrant families. During these past few weeks, we've seen heartbreaking pictures of crying toddlers. We've heard audio of children crying out for their mothers and fathers. Children are crying right here in Huntsville and all the municipalities in Madison County. They are calling out for their fathers and mothers right here. Spouses are being left to care for their children alone right here. They cry and they mourn because our sheriff, our chief of police, our mayor, our city council, and our county commission are voluntarily cooperating with ICE detainer requests.
No!
I have emphasized that I am a registered Democrat and that deportation and the deportation machine exploded under Obama for one reason. I want to emphasize that a blue wave of electing Democrats to office will not fix this human rights crisis. I want to emphasize that families which belong together cannot wait for elections.
That's right!
We have real but limited influence on whether and when the parents and children separated by Trump will be reunited. We must do everything in our power to see that it does happen. But we have absolute power over whether we stop separation of families here in Huntsville and Madison County.
Yes!
Our elected officials respond to political pressure, all of them. Those in the positions I've just mentioned and those who are running for office. We must ask all those running for office whether they support disconnecting Huntsville, Madison County from ICE, and we must insist on a straight answer. We all, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Libertarians, and anybody else, we can stop these family separations if we band together and if we insist on it. In the name of God, we must persist, we must resist, and we must insist because families belong together. Thank you.